Real reason why Roman Reigns is secretly terrified of Jey Uso, plans for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WWE Money in the Bank, updated Money in the Bank 2023 match card. WWE fired LA Knight in 2022 before Triple H intervened. Becky Lynch addresses Seth Rollins' WWE Money in the Bank match. The Rock arrested for having bare skin on his wall. 7-time champion dangerously close to replacing Cody Rhodes. Let's jump right into it. Plans for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at WWE Money in the Bank. Undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are not advertised to compete at WWE Money in the Bank. The duo will still be in London for the go-home edition of SmackDown this Friday. Zayn and Owens are set to defend their titles against Pretty Deadly this Friday on the Blue brand. The outcome of the match could land in either team's favor. It is worth mentioning that Kit Wilson and Elton Prince earned their title shot against the Tag Team Champions by winning a Tag Team Gauntlet match last week on SmackDown. The champions and the challengers could end up working at WWE Money in the Bank even though they aren't scheduled to compete at the big event. With that in mind, let's take a look at 3 things Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens can do this Saturday in London. Number 1. Put their titles on the line against Pretty Deadly. The two teams are set to collide for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship this Friday on SmackDown. However, a controversial ending to the match could force WWE official Adam Pearce to book the two teams for Money in the Bank. The company can even cancel the SmackDown match without any explanation as they cancel Bayley versus Shotzi, which was set for last week's episode of the Blue brand. For those unaware, the role model was supposed to put her ladder match spot on the line against the Blackheart. Number 2. Save Matt Riddle from Imperium. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Matt Riddle have formed quite an unusual alliance on Raw against common enemies, Imperium. The original Bro arrived on time to make the save for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champion on the go-home episode of Raw for WWE Money in the Bank. The champions could return the favor by helping Riddle against Imperium this Saturday. The original Bro will challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at the upcoming Premium Live event in London. Number 3. Issue an open challenge for their titles at WWE Money in the Bank. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens successfully defended their titles against the Street Profits in an open challenge on Raw after WrestleMania 39. The champions have never shied away from competition and might also issue an open challenge this Saturday. Imperium's Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci or any other team on the Raw and SmackDown roster could answer the open challenge. It remains to be seen if we'll see an impromptu match involving the Tag Team Champions this Saturday at WWE Money in the Bank. Do you wish to see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens compete this Saturday at WWE Money in the Bank? Let us know in the comments section below. Updated Money in the Bank 2023 match card. WB updated the Money in the Bank 2023 match card with another blockbuster announcement. It was revealed during the June 26, 2023 episode of Raw that Matt Riddle will collide with Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship this Saturday. The original Bro challenged the Ring General to put his title on the line during a backstage interview segment with Byron Saxton before Raw this week. Riddle said he thinks he should take away the Intercontinental Championship from the Austrian at Money in the Bank 2023. The outcome of the highly anticipated matchup is expected to be in Gunther's favor amid reports that WWE wants him to surpass Honky Tonk Man's reign for the Intercontinental Championship. Fans shouldn't be surprised if he wins this Saturday in London. In addition to the Intercontinental title match, the Money in the Bank 2023 match card features 6 matches. Seth Rollins will put his World Heavyweight Championship on the line against Finn Balor in one of the 3 title matches announced for the show. The Visionary is likely to emerge out of the ring with the World Heavyweight Championship around his waist. The outcome of the match could lead to a champion versus champion clash with NXT's very own Carmelo Hayes at a future WWE event. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler will also put their WWE Women's Tag Team Championship on the line against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez at Money in the Bank. The champions are expected to retain their titles. Fans shouldn't be surprised if WWE pulls off a huge surprise during or after the match. Cody Rhodes will be in action as well. The American Nightmare will take on Dominic Mysterio. Dom has managed to get the upper hand on Rhodes thanks to Rhea Ripley, but that might not work this Saturday if this star decides to show up. Next up are the marquee men and women's Money in the Bank ladder matches. The men's bout will be contested between Ricochet, Shinsuke Nakamura, LA Knight, Santos Escobar, Butch, Damian Priest, and Logan Paul. Though Knight is the odds-on favorite to grab the briefcase, he could get blindsided by the Maverick in pure heel fashion. The women's Money in the Bank ladder match is expected to be won by Io Sky of Damage Control. WWE apparently teased the outcome of the match during the huge Women's Summit segment on the Go Home episode of Monday Night Raw this week. That brings us to the final and perhaps the most anticipated contest contest in the Money in the Bank 2023 match card. It will be Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa on one side and the Usos on the other. The twins are expected to win this huge matchup and finally free themselves from the shadow of the tribal chief. Here is the updated WWE Money in the Bank 2023 match card as of Monday, June 26. Ricochet versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight versus Santos Escobar versus Butch versus Damian Priest versus Logan Paul. Men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Zelina Vega versus Becky Lynch versus Zoe Stark versus Bayley versus Io Sky versus Trish Stratus. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio with Rhea Ripley, singles match. Seth freaking Rollins C versus Finn Balor, singles match for the World Heavyweight Championship. The Bloodline, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa with Paul Heyman versus the Usos, Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso. The Bloodline Civil War Tag Team match. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler C versus Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Tag Team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Gunther C versus Matt Riddle, singles match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. WWE Superstars will be in London this Friday for the go-home episode of SmackDown for Money in the Bank. The promotion could have huge announcements in store for the premium live event match card this Friday. The company has already announced a couple of matches for SmackDown this week. Asuka will defend her WWE Women's Championship against Charlotte Flair in a highly anticipated match. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will also be in action as they defend their undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship against Pretty Deadly in Yes Boy's hometown of London. It remains to be seen who will emerge as the winner just one night before Money in the Bank 2023. What are your predictions for Money in the Bank 2023? Let us know in the comments section below. The MITB fired LA Knight in 2022 before Triple H intervened. Triple H has made lots of important decisions since replacing Vince McMahon as WWE's creative figurehead in July 2022. In a recent interview, LA Knight recalled how he was pretty sure the company was going to fire him before the game changed his character. Knight joined WWE's main roster in May 2022 as Maximum Male Models manager Max Dupre. The 40-year-old gained popularity in NXT wrestling as LA Knight. However, due to concerns about his age, WWE's decision-makers wanted him to transition into a managerial role with a new name. On Chris Van Vliet's Insight podcast, Knight explained what happened when Triple H allowed him to revert back to his NXT gimmick. Well, let me just go ahead and say this, I'm pretty sure I was fired, and it just hadn't officially happened yet. Without getting into too many details, some things happened. I don't remember what it was, but some things happened. And then I had gotten a FaceTime, hey, we want to keep you around. We want to do this, that, whatever. And okay, cool, good. Knight has been outspoken about his dislike of the Max Dupre character. He felt that the persona change was a step backward, considering how fans gravitated towards him in NXT. In recent months, LA Knight has become one of WWE's most well-liked superstars, even though he still portrays a bad guy on television. He will compete in the 2023 Men's Money in the Bank ladder match in London, England on Saturday. Reflecting on his roller coaster last 13 months, Knight added that everything turned out positively in the end. So somehow I had been saved from being thrown off the cliff. At least this is my interpretation of it. Maybe I'm incorrect, I don't know. And so eventually, just things kind of worked out. The former $1 million champion went on to explain that his LA Knight gimmick is a heightened version of his real-life personality. He said Knight is essentially a cross between himself at parties and himself in an argument. Do you think LA Knight should win at Money in the Bank? Let us know in the comments section below. Becky Lynch addresses Seth Rollins' WWE Money in the Bank match. Becky Lynch recently addressed her husband Seth Rollins' match against Finn Balor at WWE Money in the Bank 2023. While the man has been married to Seth Rollins for nearly 2 years, she has been friends with his upcoming opponent for over 2 decades. Lynch started her wrestling training about 20 years ago under the Judgment Day member in her home country of Ireland. In a recent interview with After the Bell, Lynch commented on Rollins' upcoming World Heavyweight Championship defense against Balor on July 1. Although she praised her former trainer, the 36-year-old urged him to stop jumping her husband. Obviously, this one's a bit of a conflict of interest. You know the person who trained me and then my husband. And you know myself and Finn have been friends for over 20 years at this stage. And the fact that we both made it to the highest level. The thing is though, when you saw Finn, when I walked into that gym for the first time and saw him, you knew he was going to make it. The former women's champion added, you were like, not only was he your teacher, so obviously you looked up to him and respected him like that, but he had that presence about him that you knew he was going to make it. So I would see everything that he's done, especially lately with the Judgment Day and being one of the hottest acts on TV. But then you go, God, just stop jumping my husband. I don't want to hate you. You're making me hate you. What are you doing? Gotta give him some of them slaps. While her husband, Seth Rollins, will defend his WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Finn Balor at Money in the Bank, Becky Lynch will fight in the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match to capture the briefcase and earn a title shot. The man qualified for the Money in the Bank ladder match after defeating Sonya Deville on Monday Night Raw a few weeks ago. On July 1, she will square off against Zelina Vega, Zoe Stark, Bayley, Io Sky, and WWE Hall of Famer Trish Stratus. The Rock arrested for having bare skin on his wall. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is known for several accolades, such as being a former WWE champion, one of Hollywood's top actors, and a successful businessman. However, all of these are from his adult life. If there's one thing fans know about his younger self, it's that he was quite the buff fellow at 15 years old. Recently, a fan uploaded one of his famous photographs as a 15-year-old where he's sitting shirtless in white shorts, and The Rock responded with a story behind the angry young man expression. It so happened that 2 weeks prior to that, Dwayne Johnson was arrested for theft, but he doesn't mention what the theft was of. However, The Rock does mention that the photograph shows a fake bearskin hanging on the wall. Even though an arrest was possible if it was real bearskin on charges of animal cruelty or illegal possession of animal skin, he wasn't arrested for this considering it was a fake bearskin. The arrest referred to in the tweet wasn't the only time young Rock got in trouble with Johnny Law. The Rock didn't come from a highly well-to-do family, and sometimes his family struggled for basic finances such as rent. During such trying times, Johnson walked the wrong path at an extremely young age. 13 is when I started to veer off the tracks. I started getting arrested for fighting, theft, all kinds of stupid stuff that I shouldn't have been doing. We would target the money, we would target high-end clothes, and we would target the jewelry, turn around and sell it. In fact, before he signed with WWE, the People's Champ was down to his final $7 after being released from the Canadian Football League. These $7 are the inspiration behind the name of his production house, $7 Production. Several of his fans have applauded him for successfully turning his life around and being able to pull his family and himself out of financial struggles and setting up the path toward higher opportunities. 7-time champion dangerously close to replacing Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes has found himself trusted friends in Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on WWE Raw, but he might lose his spot in the babyface trio to Becky Lynch. The undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions are the top babyfaces on the brand and often align themselves with Cody Rhodes, helping the American Nightmare when he is outnumbered. Their real-life friendship reflects brilliantly in their on-screen equation, but the champions have a similar relationship with top babyface Becky Lynch. Despite not holding any title, she's a massive fan favorite and arguably the most dominant superstar in the women's division. WWE fans have loved her backstage interactions with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, as shown on Raw over the last few weeks. Recently, the 7-time champion also kicked KO in the face while training for the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Their friendship runs deeper than hilarious videos of their backstage meetings. Becky Lynch admitted to crying like a baby when Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens defeated the Usos at WrestleMania this year to win the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. The man also revealed how she first met the best friend duo in Italy nearly 2 decades ago, and they became friends for life. She also referred to the reigning champions as her brothers in a heartfelt note following their win at WrestleMania 39. 17 years ago, I met Kevin and Sami on a poorly organized wrestling tour in Italy. After a week, I knew we would be friends for life, but they're like brothers to me now. I'm not too proud to admit I cried like a baby watching them win the main event of WrestleMania last Saturday. They deserve all the success in the world, wrote Becky Lynch in an Instagram post. Becky Lynch has previously worked individually with KO and Zayn on TV, but the trio would usually talk and hang out together in behind-the-scenes videos and pre-show press meets. However, they are together on the Red brand now and, as top babyfaces, love to elevate each other whenever they cross paths. This does not dismiss the tag team champions' friendship with the American Nightmare. While KO and Sami Zayn are great with Cody Rhodes, they are more fun when Becky Lynch is in the mix. Thanks to Owens, the tag team champions put extra effort into upholding the continuity and wrestling tropes on WWE Raw. This also means they'd explore creative freedom when they meet other top babyfaces on the brand. Funnily enough, Sami Zayn insists they have a friend in Matt Riddle, but KO is admittedly not a big fan of the original bro. While he respects Riddle's prowess, Owens struggles with anger, preventing him from enjoying Riddle in all his glory. What if we eventually see Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Becky Lynch, Cody Rhodes, and Matt Riddle meet for a backstage segment on Raw? It would be fun to see KO navigating his rants through the madness. Real reason why Roman Reigns is secretly terrified of Jey Uso. Did Jey Uso ever pin Roman Reigns? Yes, 10 years ago on September 23, 2013. But there is much more to the decade-old story and its role today in WWE. Not only has Jey Uso defeated Roman Reigns, but he was also the first superstar to pin him on the main roster. Reigns is part of the Shield, crossed paths with Jey Uso on Raw when the iconic trio competed in an 11-on-3 handicap elimination tag team match. Jimmy Uso hit Reigns with a super kick, and Jey followed it with a signature splash off the top turnbuckle. Jey Uso then pinned Roman Reigns as his fellow Shield members Seth Rollins and Jon Moxley, Dean Ambrose, were stunned at ringside. This was the first time Reigns was down for the 3 count since he made his main roster debut. A decade has passed since, but it wouldn't be too far-fetched to argue that Reigns is still haunted by Jey Uso, especially now with added evidence. The Bloodline Civil War has begun with its first official in-ring encounter booked for Money in the Bank 2023. Roman Reigns has been one of the most dominant superstars in the pro wrestling business for the past 3 years. but the tribal chief is evidently scared of his cousin, Jey Uso. Despite his best efforts, Reigns can't turn away from the history hugely favoring Jey Uso since the beginning of the tribal chief saga. Looking back, an important question has quietly scripted the bloodline story. Reigns reinvented himself upon his WWE return at SummerSlam 2020 and aligned himself with Paul Heyman, beginning his journey as the tribal chief. He met with Jey Uso, who was initially fascinated with Reigns but soon grew uncomfortable with the champion's bullying. The two engaged in an intense feud where Reigns was desperate to make Jey Uso fall in line, which he did. But it's the how that changes the narration when the story is retold. Jey Uso challenged Reigns for the Universal Championship, marking the latter's first title defense since winning the gold in the no-holds-barred triple threat match against Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. Reigns only won against Jey Uso after Jimmy Uso threw in the towel on behalf of his brother. Jey and Reigns locked horns again in an I Quit match at Hell in a Cell inside the unforgiving steel cage. Reigns once again won only after he attacked Jimmy Uso, and Jey accepted defeat to protect his brother. He then aligned himself with Reigns as the right-hand man and ascended to new heights as main event Jey Uso. Jey also protected Jimmy Uso during his nobody's betch phase, while the latter was feuding with Reigns before eventually joining the Bloodline. The Usos ultimately became the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions and scripted a historic run, but they also worked overtime to help Reigns hold onto his Universal Championship for over 1,000 days. That was until the Usos saw through their tribal chief's facade. Even when Jimmy Uso betrayed Roman Reigns at Night of Champions 2023, the latter was more concerned about Jey Uso falling in line. He even tempted Jey into betraying his brother by acknowledging him as the next tribal chief. But why would Jey Uso give up on his brother for a family title everyone knows he deserves? Roman Reigns knows it would be challenging to beat Jey Uso, let alone a vengeful Jey Uso. The latter has long served as the moral compass of the bloodline but went beyond all personal ambitions to protect his family in WWE. Reigns is aware that his former right-hand man will do what is right, and in this case, it unfortunately means the beginning of the end for the current tribal chief. Roman Reigns will team up with Solo Sikoa to take on the Usos at Money in the Bank 2023. If Jey Uso pins him again, he will earn the right to challenge Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, potentially at SummerSlam 2023. It's a terrifying prospect for Roman Reigns, but as the big bad villain must have realized, there is no escape when the Island of Relevancy picks a new tribal chief.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for